Mic check 1. Zoom link sent. The time has come, but my mic arm's bent. Recording in progress. We're the members of the Wild Women of Pod. We come from podcasts near and far. We've got a Mexican, an Irish one, and me. We're all for wild, we're wild for all. We're wild for podcasting. Each girl has a podcast of her own, not recorded on her phone. They're not the ones to use, but need a chaperone. Our discussions are not too soft, they're not too tough. Our editing is on the ball. We've got a president who doesn't know his stuff. We're all for wild, we're wild for all. We're wild for podcasting.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
I love it.
First, I was like, "What's happening?"
Yeah, I figured.
We have a
Like, is this the way
now.
when you first start? I'm like, "Is this the way that Jen now counts down before she starts recording?" I'm like, "This is an interesting way to do it."
But where are all the numbers?
And that's why I had to hold it up, because I was like, I can't look at their faces, otherwise it's going to throw me off. But I was, since Carla and I had recorded on A League of Their Own not that long ago, I wrote like a verse for us as an intro, and then afterwards I messaged her. I was like, I may or may not have written like a whole thing for it.
It's so much better than I could have dreamed. Like, yeah,
Well,
you
I'm
nailed
glad
it.
Thank you. I'm glad you guys like it. So I was kind of nervous. I've been singing it all afternoon, but I got to get it right. So anyway, hello and welcome to My Streaming Bubble, the podcast where I talk about the shows I love with the people I tolerate. I am your TV watching and talking and sometimes singing host, Jen. And as you can guess, today the Wild Women of Podcasting are back. Carla from OK Real Quick and Erin from It's a Fandom Thing are here once again. And this time we're talking about love, heart, eyes, and murder as we shoot our shot with Heart Eyes. Welcome, Carla and Erin. Hi.
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 Hello, thank you.
Hello. And for anyone that's listening that is new, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about your podcast? Erin, you may go first.
Thank you for that.
You're
that
welcome.
permission. You're allowed. Well, I actually host and co-host several podcasts, but my main podcast is It's a Fandom Thing, and we cover fandom and pop culture primarily from the female perspective, but other perspectives that are sorely underrepresented in podcasts. And we talk about movies, books, television, fandom, topics, film, everything you can possibly imagine. And best way to find us is always it's a fandomthingpod.com. Yeah.
Excellent. And Carla?
Hi, yes. Hello there. So I have a new podcast called OK Real Quick. It is a very quick podcast, hence the name. It's 10-ish minutes each episode. And there is no unifying theme for my podcast. It's just, hey, I thought about this. You want to hear me talk about it? Well, you're gonna. So that's what it is. My podcast episodes lately have been cats and mixtapes and Pedro Zamora from the 3rd season of The Real World. My upcoming episodes are going to be about perfect pilots, my favorite pilot episodes of TV shows. Just pretty much anything that my brain says, hey, this is fascinating to me. Maybe somebody else will find it fascinating too.
Well, awesome. And I do find it fascinating as well. So,
Well, thank you, Jen.
you're welcome. All right. Well, fantastic. So everyone, make sure you go and check out their podcast once you're done listening to this one. But we're going to go ahead and get right into everything. So this is your official spoiler warning. So if you haven't seen this and you don't want it spoiled, pause the pod, watch the thing, and then come back. So, but before we get to chatting, Content warnings for a good time. I don't know. It was fun.
If you want a bad time, go listen to something else.
Yeah.
Best content warning ever.
Thank you. And then what IMDb says, and now we've kind of talked shit about some of the IMDb synopsis in the past, but this one has got to take the prize for the worst. Here it is. When two coworkers have to survive the heart ice killer on Valentine's Day, the two have to find out who it is.
That's it.
That is so helpful. Thank you, IMDb.
Jesus.
That's so lame.
Oh, it's the worst. And sometimes there's two of them, or a couple of them. That's the only one out there. So weird.
It sounds like somebody forgot to write the blurb, and they were like, "Oh shoot, it's going live in 3 minutes. Here you go."
Yep.
Yeah, or someone went in there and edited it and stuff like that.
Could have been.
Took out all the reference to stabbings and killings.
Yep. Bunch of buttheads. Anyway, what I says about this is I'm just gonna need all rom-coms to be horror movies from here on out, and then maybe I'll watch them. All right. This movie was written by Philip Murphy, Christopher Landon, and Michael Kennedy, and it was directed by Josh Rubens, and it stars Mason Gooding, Olivia Holt, Gigi Zumbato, Michaela Watkins, Devon Sawa, Jordana Brewster, and more. And it is streamable on Netflix. You can rent or buy it on various streamers, but more importantly, free at your local library. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into our general thoughts. So, Erin, what are your general thoughts on this movie?
First and foremost, if anyone listens to my podcast, I will forever be a Josh Rubin fan. Josh Rubin is one of the most genuinely good people in Hollywood. And I mean, I've been lucky enough to interview him. He was on my episode discussing Donnie Darko along with his wonderful wife, Lauren Sick, who is the second unit director on Hard Eyes. And so anything he does, I am instantly going to be biased towards liking. I will admit that. I mean, I have a bias. But I really did enjoy this. As far as for his 3 directing stints for feature length, I think this is my second favorite of his, but I think what Josh does so well is he really understands why horror and comedy go so well together. And I know he didn't write this, but he still knows how to get those beats when he's directing it, and with the cast, and how to land a perfect joke and then put in there the killing and the slasher stuff, the slashing, And so it's such a perfect balance of comedy and horror. And I love also that it adds the romance element into it, because that's something that's very rare in horror films. And I think we need more horror romantic comedies, like you were saying, Jen. Mm-hmm. So I enjoyed it greatly. I took a group of our, because, like I said, we support everything Josh does. So I took a group of my fellow podcasters, my fellow panelists, from my podcast to go see it. And I bought this is the funniest part. I did not know this in advance, that a metal straw played such a significant part in this. And I bought metal straws in advance that had a heart in them. Aww. And I gave those, and then heart eye glasses and candy and cards and all this stuff for gifts. And we went and saw it. So it made it an even more fun experience for it to be this communal celebration. And I just think it's just such a good time. It's just really it's full of just the right amount of blood and guts. And then also the chemistry of the two leads is so good. And it's something that sadly is lacking in so many films nowadays, the chemistry between the romantic leads. and they had great chemistry. I love all the other supporting characters. I love the reveal at the end. I predicted Jordana Brewster's character, but I liked the fact that she wasn't working alone. I always like when there are female killers. I always appreciate that, honestly. I think we need more of them. So I thought it was a ton of fun. So I enjoy it greatly.
Excellent. I'm going to have to move out closer to you so I can get gifts and go to movies and stuff.
Well, I know. I should have asked if you were going around that time because I sent a package to Carla, and so I still have a bunch of those straws if you want a straw.
That's all right. I just don't get to movies often, so like ever really like Sinners, because obviously, but before that, I probably like a Spider-Man or an Avengers movie was probably the last one saw in theaters. So, all right. And Carla, what'd you think of this movie?
I loved it immediately from the moment that from the beginning to the end. It just keeps a really good pace, and the things that are the most surprising are also the funniest. Like, you definitely get a lot of, really cool jump scares and kills and all of that, but there are so many funny beats in it that things that you wouldn't really like expect, like when she's outside of the car when Jay's arrested, and they're talking to her and she says, "What?" And from the inside the car you hear, "What?"
Yep.
Just goofy, silly things like that. And yes, they have such good chemistry. It's just immediately believable that they're endgame. You don't have like that feeling of like, oh, these people are clearly in it for this is a paycheck movie. It just really felt like they were sincerely just people that you're watching, which I think is like one of the most fun things in movies. And Josh Rubin is so cool. I think he's so awesome and so neat. And whether it's Werewolves Within or Scare Me or this movie, I love his style, his directorial style. I think it's improving over time, of course, like anything that you do over and over again. But I really like what he has to bring to the horror genre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I started watching Werewolves Within because I hadn't seen it yet. I started watching it last night. I did fall asleep, but I started it at like 11:30, so that's on me. It's not on the movie. And I was like, I know I'm going to fall. I'm not going to make it to the end. Do I even want to start it? And I was like, yeah, I want to start it. And I was just like, oh no, I'm not going to make it to the end. I tried so hard to keep my eyes open. It didn't work. But I was having a ton of fun in that first like 20, 30 minutes. But
the part that you did watch.
Yes, the parts I did see. But for Hard Eyes, I fucking love this movie. Carla, like you, from like the second that song starts, I start laughing. I don't know why. It just cracks me up. I can't think of the last time I heard that song other than from just this movie. So, and then just a good time throughout the whole rest of the film. I watched it on Mother's Day because it felt like something to watch on Mother's Day. And
yeah.
I had a fucking blast with it. It's just so hilarious. I think its IMDb rating is a crime and it should be investigated because 6.1 out of 10 out of 25,000 votes is unreal. We are in the wrong timeline because that is not okay. But yeah, it's just this movie. It's so much fun. It's hilarious. I love how it kind of like pokes fun at rom-coms and horror movies, but like in a very loving way. Like it's not making fun of them. It's not like punching down in any way, but it's like incorporating all the things that make rom-coms and things that make horror movies into one delightful little film. And it makes it like, it feels like it's done just so thoughtfully, which makes it a lot of fun and really easy to appreciate, I think. So, I was kind of wondering if you guys thought maybe if this movie leaned more rom-com than horror or more horror than rom-com, or if it's like a perfect mix of the two.
I think it's a perfect mix. I know I've heard, from the haters or whatever, from the people who complain about this movie and the horror snobs. I'm just going to say that because there are snobs in every genre of film. And I've heard the complaint that they're like, this is just a romantic comedy with a couple of kills put in there. But I think it actually balances it perfectly because you have just the right amount of romantic the right amount of romantic moments. Like you have the wonderful meet cute when they're getting coffee and they both had the same coffee order. And I love that moment too because they're sitting there talking about it and the barista's like, can you just move along? Okay, it's actually a very common order and I'm really busy. I love that so much. It does crack me up though that they have like sugar and honey in their coffee and then they're putting the straws in and she's like, you want some sugar? And I'm like, you have so much sugar in there. But I just thought that was it unplugged again. I don't know what the hell's going on. Anyway, so yeah, I think it's the perfect mixture of it because it doesn't lean too heavily in either genre and it knows when to kind of take a break from the horror and go into the romance part of it and then knows when to pick up back on the horror because even the fact that there's a whole moment when you think they've killed the Hard Eyes killer, and then they have that whole montage where she's running to the airport to find him, and then immediately you've got the horror after that, but you've got that break a little bit in between. So I think it's the perfect balance.
Yeah. Carla, do you agree?
I agree. I think it's just like right down the line. It really hits all of the great aspects of a rom-com. And that you have, they're both lovable. You want to root for them to end up together. They fit a lot of tropes within rom-coms, but what I love about it too is that it's reversed, where she's the cynical one, he's the romantic one. He wants it like at the very end. It's just all the way throughout. The whole thing is reversed. And same thing with the horror part of it. It's you have great kills. I don't know how people can think that it's not horror enough. Like something not being only horror doesn't make it not that.
Right.
But purists are purists and they need to get a grip. But they also have like that reverse those reverse roles from like the traditional or what we would expect from a horror genre where she would be the one running and falling and all of that and that's him. He's the one hitting his head, falling, like disappearing, being kidnapped a couple times, having to be rescued. And I just think it's great. There's so many things that are unexpected, but they're also enjoyable because you're surprised throughout the whole movie. I don't know how anybody could not like this movie. It's so good.
I 100% agree. This movie, like, it's so much fun. And I would agree. I think it's just right down the middle between rom-com and horror. Because when I was watching it, I was like trying to see, I was like, does it lean one way a little bit more, even just a smidge? No, it's kind of nice split down the middle. And Erin, when you were talking about how it knows kind of when to shift from the horror to the romance to the comedy and everything, immediately the scene in the van at the drive-in came to mind because here they're having a nice touching moment and they're sharing feelings and everything, but there's like some weird hippie couple like banging in the back, so you're hearing that, and that's the comedy. And then shortly after that they die, Hard Eyes is there, and then they die spectacular deaths, which first time I watched it I was like, holy shit. It made me laugh, but I was like, oh my god, that was fantastic. So yeah, I think that was just kind of the right off, literally the top of my head example of how well balanced this movie is. And for people to say that this isn't like a horror movie, there are 4 kills in the opening alone. And they're not just like poison or something not messy. They were messy.
Yeah.
The photographer one gets me every single time, I have to say. But it's like,
because
how-
seriously, like,
Yeah.
you don't really usually expect something through the eye.
not like that.
Not typically.
But it's like,
I mean,
yeah,
he was just trying to do his job.
for these horrible people. Oh my God.
They were awful. Oh, man.
Especially her. She was the worst.
Oh God, yeah. Just when she's mouthing along to his proposal, it's all been practiced and rehearsed and all
No.
like
Or when she gets pissed at him because it's in the strawberry and she's in it's like, yay.
told you not in the food.
Although I will say that's a choking hazard, so I don't
Yeah,
know what
that's
he
true.
was thinking. Like, that's a really good way to, one, just accidentally kill your loved one, and two, have to wait, 48 to 72 hours to get the ring back.
Oh, God. Then you do not want to put it on your finger until it's cleaned.
Not at all. Even after clean, I'm still kind of like,
No.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Like a tiny jar of like alcohol or something and just preserve it on a mantle. Fun story. I used to have a Jenga set, and it was like Uno based, and so there was like a die that you would roll and it told you which colors to pull. Many years ago, we got back from the bar. I handed it to my friend and I was like, you need to get rid of this. I've been trying to lose it. Get rid of it. He swallowed it. Couple of days later, he came back with it. And so in a tiny jar filled with clear rum, and it's sealed. And that is the story of our Jenga die. And we still have it. It sits on our, our bookshelf.
That's funny.
Sorry, conversation.
Never
piece.
to be touched again.
Never, ever, ever. I'm glad I don't drink that much anymore where I'm not anywhere tempted. No, would never be. And Carla, I like how you brought up kind of like the role reversal with in terms of rom-com and who's who, because my next kind of question was like, what did you guys think of Allie as the final girl and Jay as the damsel in distress? Because he gets kidnapped.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost like Jay is the final girl because, just as far as the trope goes, obviously that's not really the case, but it's like, it's that send up of what a final girl should be like. It's like very, very scared, very, heroic in the end, but throughout just running away and just freaking out and all of that. And I think over the last few years with horror, it's been great to see the female characters have more, first of all, more agency, but also be given more of a role in their own saving. So, but as far as just like the traditional or like the previous generation of horror movies, like it's very much coded that way, that that Jay is fumbling and falling and needing to be rescued. And in the end, he does, come through and, start hitting things and whatever. But it does make me think of that. But just on the whole, I really enjoy that dynamic and that that reversal of expectations. And that Allie is really the one who is, very upfront and confronting the killer, like from the beginning when he's coming after them, and she's like, "We're not even together," and she flips him off. I was like, and like the killer was even like, "Whoa." Yeah. Like, hang on a second. Maybe I should reevaluate my choices at the moment. But throughout, she's really the strong one. She's the one who, first of all, she doesn't shy away from anything except for love.
Yep.
Everything else she's up for, but like the whole like tenderness thing, she's like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. And I really enjoy the dynamic and how it's shown in the movie. Yeah.
Erin?
Yeah, I think they're both kind of the final girl in a lot of respects. And I think in different ways, it's kind of like they help each other along their partnership. And they become more of a partnership as it goes along. Like, I love the scene in the drive-in when, they're he's like, we need a weapon. We can't just be running back here without a weapon. And first she pulls out her straw, and he's like, no, what about, and they go and they look at the thing that killed the hippies, and he's motivating her to pull that out of the body in this way where there's like they're not even thinking about the body. They're not even thinking about the fact that that's a person. He's more like, you can do this. Mm-hmm. You have got this. You're strong, as you're looking at this mutilated body, and she just gets the courage to pull that out there. But it's not about the body. Like, she doesn't care about that. It's more that she gets queasy around blood and all of that. So him motivating her while there's just this dead guy there is so hilarious. But it also speaks to the fact that I think they're a team. I mean, she is definitely more of the dominant final girl for sure in this. But I think they kind of both have that dynamic. And I do like the fact that it never once feels like Jay is trying to, like, take over or be like, you don't know how to protect yourself. You don't know how to stick up for yourself. And I think if he was like that, it would have been very hard to root for them to come together as a couple. Yeah. And so I think the fact that he is fine with her being so hyper independent and, and he wants her to be, and he's encouraging her to do that, is also another reason that you root for them to get together and why they work so well as a team too. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well said. The pulling out the tire iron thing or whatever cracks me up because, yes, it's this loving, tender, like the music goes all light and stuff. They got their both hands on it together, doing it together, and there's like just like brains and flesh and guts or whatever on the thing, and it's just hysterical. I love it. Yeah, I love these two. They complement each other very, very well. Like, just from the get-go, from the very common meet cute, and she hits him so hard with her head in his face. He's actually bleeding. Loved it. But and then yeah, just the way that they kind of work with each other. There is that one part where he's like, "You ditched me," and she's like, "No, you're muscly and capable."
Oh my God, that's one of my favorite lines in the whole movie. These muscles were not made for violence; they're for cuddling.
Yeah, that's a great line.
There's a lot of this movie's. There's a lot of like really great lines, even in the beginning when they're kind of doing the like news montage thing about Hard Eyes. And then it ends on the one couple, and Dylan's all talking about, like, Hard Eyes got nothing on him, this and that. And she's like, "Shut up, Dylan. You're afraid of the dark." And he's just like, "No, I don't." Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. That one kills me every time. All right. Okay. So what else would you guys like to talk about? Do you have like a favorite scene, favorite kill, any other favorite moments? Erin, like any favorite tropes that get played into this?
I do want to talk about the commercial or the advertisement that she's in trouble for.
Thank you.
And I want to give a shout out to Lauren Sick, because Lauren Sick directed that whole segment. So shout out to her. But I love that whole thing because I will be honest, that is a horrible campaign for the product. But I love it too because so many of the characters and the films and the real life people, because of course Bonnie and Clyde were real life people, that are shouted out there, are so problematic in so many ways. And yet everybody always roots for them, like Romeo and Juliet and all of that. And so I liked that because it's kind of like this play on, this is what everybody wants. It's like this yearning, or they claim to want, this yearning romance where you would die if you can't have the other person, but then showing it in this way where it's like, this is actually really toxic and fucked up, and this is not what you should want.
Right.
I like that because it's like, it's so unexpected and it's done so well. And, the fake, like the scarf with the red blood, quote unquote blood, and just the way that's done. So just a shout out to that and that whole scene. And I also love that they're in that they're in the bathroom after that, and then Jay comes in there. And she's like, this is the woman's bathroom. Get out. And he's like, well, technically, it's a sex bathroom. I don't know. I just love that whole interaction. And then, of course, the reveal that he is there and he might be like taking over basically her job. And so it adds another great romantic comedy trope. And I just thought that was, I just really like that whole commercial and that whole scene. So, yeah.
Yeah, that commercial was something else. At first, I was like, "Oh, what? How bad could it be?" And I was like, "Oh, that's
So
pretty
much
bad."
handkerchief blood. It was like it was the prettiest, most artistic bleeding I've possibly ever seen. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh look, it's like one of those shows where it's those scarves that they're using in dance. Mm-hmm. Oh, how pretty, but it's death and it's love, but mostly death.
Yeah.
And I really like how it shows Allie's state of mind at that point about love and just about relationships in general. It's like, well, they're all going to end anyway. They might as well end bloody. You know, like they all suck because every relationship sucks. Like why give anybody any hope, even in an ad? Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, well, maybe you need therapy, but this is something else you could do too, I guess.
Just a little bit of therapy.
One thing that I need to point this out. Mm-hmm. As somebody who got up to 3rd degree black belt in Taekwondo, which I will mention every chance that I get. Okay, when Allie goes to break the glass to get into the building, right? And Jay stops her because she was going to hit it with her thumb inside her fist. Mm-hmm. I was like, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Somebody is finally speaking up about the absolute travesty that is people going to make a fist and they put their thumb inside the fist. It's like, that's a really good way to get your thumb separated from the rest of your body. Mm-hmm. Like, people learn, like, claw hand, thumb goes around. The thumb hugs your fingers as you're going to do some damage. Like, don't do damage to your thumb, do damage to the person. Or, okay, let's not condone violence. Let's punch a pillow, but do it right. I just want people to be safe out there. Yeah. Another thing in the whole like apartment, the beauty of the pink dildo just vibrating on the floor.
Yes.
Was
just she threw it at her.
Like it's a great throwing weapon, but I just love that it's just like chilling on the floor, just vibrating away.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know why. It's one of my favorite things. And I don't care what the setting is. I don't care what is going on in the scene. When you put on David Gray's This Year's Love, I'm going to stop and have feelings. Okay, I'm going to stop and have feelings because that song is like the perfect melancholy love song. It's like, you know, it's multi-purpose. It's like you're sad about love. You're in love, but you're sad. And you're in love, but you're wondering if you should be in love and you're sad about it. So basically, if it's sad and it's love, but also if it's just beautiful and it's love, because there's also like just a total, and I really love that song. Okay. Like it's like just one of my favorite songs ever. I have it in like 15,000 playlists, but yeah, I heard it and I was like, oh my God, this movie gets me, man.
Yeah.
It just really gets me. For the killers. Okay. So there's Heart Eyes 1, Eli, Heart Eyes 2, David the IT guy, and then Heart Eyes 3. And in my notes, I have Detective Let's Get It On. By the way, I'm a sloppy kisser. Like those are my takeaways of who Shaw is. Just those kissing scenes. I was like, wow. Those are very wet kisses, and it's a lot of sloppy kissing sounds, and I think that's what caused the most terror in me about the whole Heart Ice thing is the sloppy kissing sounds that horrified me so much.
What about you, Erin? Did the sloppy wet kisses horrify you as well? Or?
No. I was like trying to think back. I'm like, did that? Because usually, like, I hate watching people like bad kissing on movies and television shows like really bothers me, but I didn't notice it, so I don't know. No, I didn't notice it, but I do love the. I love the last scene in the church and kind of like the not poetic justice, but there's kind of a poetry to doing a scene in a church when there's a lot of talk about marriage and weddings and I don't know, forever. For some reason, it just kind of stuck out to me when I watched it in preparation for this. And I do like the way that Jordana Brewster's character dies because it's so long when you're watching her head slowly separate from the rest of her body. And it's this long, slow death. And it's so funny because it's just like you slowly just watch her body detach from her head. And it's like, oh my gosh, it just goes on and on. And I do love the ending when they get engaged. And I love that Gina, the friend, calls up and impersonates the heist killer. I thought that was really funny too. I appreciated that as well. Yeah. And I'm trying to think what my favorite kill would be. It probably would be the hippies in the van would probably actually be my favorite kill because it's just so funny.
It's funny. It's kind of a little over the top. Like I said, and I wasn't really expecting that much, especially when he stabs the hippie guy and then just takes the woman's head and just bam right on the thing and it goes right through her face. Like, oh fuck!
You know what it made me think of? It made me think of Death Becomes Her. When Goldie Hawn's character gets shot through the middle and you just see through and it's like a perfect circle. But this time it's a throat.
Yes.
Another thing that I loved was the line when they're in the police station and someone says, "We've got an HWW." And like, what's that? A hysterical white woman. I loved that. Was one of the best.
I just love too how Shaw and the other police officer said it at the exact same time, and it's like, of course it is. That's fantastic.
It's so good.
I liked Gina. I was, for a hot second there, the very first time I watched it, I thought, because I had a feeling it was going to be more than one killer. And so for a hot second, I was like, who's this Arthur guy? We don't know him. We don't see him. And then then Gina calls Allie from inside a vehicle and assuming that it's Arthur's car and he's sitting there. Or Monica. Yes.
I thought it was, I don't know where I got the Gina name from then.
I don't either, but I went with it.
Gina. I apologize.
No, not at all. Thank you, Carla, for correcting in the chat. I get character names wrong all the time. But yes,
same.
Monica was hilarious. I love that she's just kind of that classic best friend rom-com trope. So I thought it was Arthur for a while, and then I didn't think it was Arthur. But I just love that. So when she calls Allie and convinces Allie to go to the airport and track down Jay and everything, her whole speech is nothing but rom-com titles, just one after the other. And I thought that was beautiful. And it's done kind of throughout the movie as well. Jay's got to catch the next flight out in the morning to get to his best friend's wedding and all of that. So it's like there was a few things that I did catch, but that was amazing. It's one of my favorite parts with Monica.
I think it's the actor's name is Gigi, so I'm like,
Gina.
It's like, where am I getting that from?
Yes, Gigi is her name. Yep. So maybe, I don't know. Gina sounded good too, though. Whatever.
Yeah, right? I'm cool with it.
Yeah. But yeah, did you guys ever think, who did you think were the killers? Like the first time you watched, if you can recall, like and then were you correct? Were you incorrect?
Okay, I definitely thought it was David, the IT guy. I was like, he's got to be it. And I very strongly suspected Detective Sloppy Kiss, because from the very beginning, she was way too into it. Mm-hmm. She's like way too, like when they're at the, oh my God, when the first woman gets squished in that machine, mm-hmm. and she's like in there playing with like all the gore, and she's like, oh, you know, like she's a little too excited about it. But on the rewatch, you know, like in that moment, she's pointing out that, hey, maybe it's not a man, and hey, maybe it's a kink, and you know, but I do remember thinking that I did not expect like a third. That I think was the most surprising thing. And by the way, who the hell is Eli? Yeah. I love that they just threw a completely random person. Yeah. And like the first time that I saw the movie, I was like, are they going to go back and like explain who Eli actually was? Like, did I just like miss it? Was it a guy like at the ad agency, and maybe he was like overlooked for this ad campaign, and he was really salty about it? But wait, I don't remember the guy being named Eli. Whatever. I was just like, who is this man? And it felt it doesn't throw the movie off the rails, but for a moment you're left kind of thinking, okay, did I miss something? And it makes you kind of stop. And I appreciate the way that the movie handled that, where like they give you space before they move on to the next part of it, to be like, wait, did I blink and miss something? Like, did I secretly run to the bathroom and didn't even tell myself? But it was, I think it was just like completely perfect that it was just, who the hell is this guy? And then it's a third, like,
and Erin.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
I always suspected Jordana Brewster's character. There was a brief moment where I suspected Devon Sawa's character, just because Devon Sawa can very easily play like a character where underneath it there's something smarmy going on. And so there was a part of me that suspected him until the police station part, even though I still kind of suspected him when he left Jay and the way he left Jay there, even though, I mean, he's a cop, so, I mean, that's not that surprising. But I still was like, oh, maybe he's in on this until like, he died, basically.
Yeah. Like two scenes later.
Yeah, but I always suspected Jordana Brewster's character for a lot of the same reasons that Carla said. And also because I just think sometimes it's better to not always have the killer be a man and to have it be a woman. And again, I just shout out whenever that happens. I didn't suspect David at all. That was not at all something I suspected at all. And even rewatching it, I was like, no, I still wouldn't have suspected David. So that one was a surprise to me. And I thought he did a really good job too. So yeah.
Yeah, I kind of, for even the first time that, okay, there was two, the comment about the killer could be a woman. So I'm like, all right, now I'm looking for a woman. And so anytime they showed heart eyes, I was like, I'm looking at their overall build. And like Heart Eyes has layers and layers and stuff on. So you can't really tell if it's a more masculine or feminine body shape type or whatever. But I told myself there were a couple of times. I was like, oh, that's totally a woman. I don't fucking know, actually. But so that was kind of one thing. The possibility of two killers having that egg, that seed planted, was like, okay, you know, because, yeah, killers can get, you know, like Jason gets from, like, point A to point C in, like, 3 seconds. 3 seconds. I held up a 2. 3 seconds.
Well, sometimes it's 2.
Sometimes it's 2. So I wasn't sure if it was just kind of leaning into that and having a little fun with that, or if there really were 2. With David, I kind of suspected him for a little bit, because I was like, who is this guy? We haven't seen him before. He's being introduced all of a sudden kind of like in the middle of the movie. And then poof, he's gone. So then you kind of forget about him. And then when he came back, I was like, oh, I was half correct. But yeah, the throuple part definitely threw me. Even this last time watching it, I was like, who the fuck is that guy? Like, I kind of forgot. So I liked that twist, and they're just like, oh, he's a fanboy, this and that, and more or less kind of just sounded like a pet almost, just like a little plaything for them or something. But I thought that was kind of fun and interesting. Sorry, it's just so funny. Fucking, they're like, whatever, fuck that guy. So, let's see. What else was I going to mention? I can't remember now. My notes are all over the place. So, okay. So at one point, all my notes were just pointing out like rom-com tropes and horror movie tropes. So that's kind of all my notes are right now. But it's like, yeah, you've got your classic, like the meet cute, the disaster first date, getting back to for whatever reason, ending up back at one of their apartments, and it's all messy. And she's going around trying to like quickly clean everything, fixing the wound and brushing the hair from the face. Like it was just, and then shortly after that, then we see the vibrator and hard eyes and all of that. And so it's just so well done, well balanced. I loved all these little rom-com moments, even though that's not my favorite genre. I can appreciate how it was worked in, how they were all worked into the movie. And it's not just a few. It was quite a bit. And then
they really packed it in there.
They did. And they did a really, really good job. And then even like some of the horror movie tropes, like we have our creepy abandoned carnival park. It's like, check.
Yeah.
Let's see. When Allie, in that same scene, Allie's running away from Hard Eyes, and she's on the merry-go-round, and Hard Eyes has like the hatchet and goes down to or machete, and gets her like right in between the legs, because that's normally the man that happens to, because that's where his wiener is, and oh no. So I like that they flipped it here that way, but it was still just kind of classic, and it's just, God, this movie is so much fun. I just love everything about it.
It really is. Like, it's honestly one of those, to me, like, it's a perfect movie because it's so much fun. So it's just constantly entertaining. It doesn't have like a moment where you're just kind of like bored waiting around for something to happen. It feels like there's just continual action. Mm-hmm. And the moments that are more quiet, there's like character building going on, so you're still not bored. There's still something going on. Like the restaurant scene where nobody's getting stabbed is still very engaging because Allie is so animated and Jay's reactions are so good to everything that she's saying. It's like it just has like a real flow of conversation. Yeah. I talk and then I stop talking.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. The restaurant, the disaster, quote, first date. And she's like, it's not a date. It's not a date. She doesn't want to drink because it's a work meeting. It's like, come on, loosen up, have the drink. But I loved how Jay handled her kind of like cynicism and her like grumpiness or whatever you want to call it. He took it with a smile. And it's almost like the more she kind of resisted, the more he seemed to like be into that. Like, this is a woman that knows what she doesn't want. And he could like almost appreciate that. So again, going back to the chemistry with those two. So let's see.
I agree.
Yeah. Erin, what did you think of the disaster first date scene? First date, air quotes.
I liked it. I thought it was cute and sweet. I thought it was funny and kind of typical that people aren't paying attention when you're saying something. But she's like, I don't want champagne. No, the champagne, and the champagne just keeps being poured for her, and it's just like, nope, nobody's paying attention at all. Mm-hmm. And that's just a pretty typical thing. I did think it was. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there, but I also liked after the date when they're leaving and her ex shows up with his current girlfriend, and and then she ends up kissing him to make him jealous, or kissing Jay to make her ex-boyfriend jealous. And I also love that Jay is like, because her ex knew the couple that was killed in the very beginning. Mm-hmm. And so I love the fact that Jay is just like, but you kept the reservation. You still kept the reservation and still came here, even though your friends that you were going to be meeting here with, that you were going to be eating here with, died and were murdered. You still kept the reservation. I thought that was so funny. It was just kind of this throwaway thing. And I just really appreciated that because it felt like Jay was already sticking up for her. And so I really appreciated that part. And then I really liked their Uber ride and how that Uber car was decorated in like the lights, like the heart lights and the Valentine's Day lights. I don't know. I just thought it was a really, really cute little scene, and where it was kind of like still her pushing him away, but there being a little bit of more of an attraction, especially since their kiss, because that was a good kiss. So
yes, that was a good kiss.
I love that so much. Like that's my rom-com heart really being tugged, because it was just the setup, the framing, the just everything about it just was like swoon worthy. It was like, oh, such a nice kiss. So yeah, no wonder Heart Ice was like, yep, they're the ones.
Yep.
Yeah, I get it, Heart Ice. I went there too.
Yeah, that fake kiss in front of the ex, awesome trope, well done here, and yeah, that was an amazing kiss. Like, I want some of that.
Right?
But even so, then after that, and her ex and his girlfriend walk into the restaurant, and she goes in to get into Jay's Uber. And like Erin, you said, he's got some of these really funny kind of throwaway lines. He's like, oh, I guess you're coming with me now. And then they go for the ride and drops her off at her place and everything. And then you have the guy, the cabbie, doing kind of playing that, oh, run to her and never let her go guy. And I don't know why. It fucking cracked me up. But I was like, oh, yep, the run to her, never let her go. Check. And again, I mean this in like the best way. Like, I wasn't tracking these because I was like, oh, here we go again. And it's like, oh, we got this one. It was almost like a bingo. It was almost like rom-com horror bingo.
Oh, man, you're so right.
That's really
You're so right. That's exactly what it was.
Well, and that's kind of what Christopher Landon and Michael Kennedy are kind of known for, is taking like tropes and playing with them, like Freaky, which is a play on the body switch trope, or It's a Wonderful Knife, which of course is a takeoff on It's a Wonderful Life. So they're known for doing that, for taking like things that you see, like tropes that you see all the time, and kind of flipping them and switching them and, kind of turning them on their head. And that's one of the reasons that, for the most part, there are a couple that I'm not a fan of, but for the most part, I really enjoy what they write and sometimes direct, because of the fact that they are playing with all these very familiar tropes that we all love, but they turn them on their head, also, Christopher Landon wrote Happy Death Day, the Happy Death Day movies, and those are so good too. And that's a take on Groundhog Day. So it's like all of those kind of things, I think, are really well done for the most part in their screenplays. So yeah.
See, and this is why I don't put stock into this whole thing of like horror needs to be this in order to be considered horror. It's like, if you don't play outside of the bounds, then you're, first of all, the genre is never going to evolve. But then it's like you're just watching the same thing over and over again, and where's the fun in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, horror just needs to have like a nice, healthy body count. It doesn't have to be gory, and it doesn't have to be visceral. It can do the slow burn. There can be comedic bits in it. Like, there just needs to be a reasonable size body count, like pile of dead bodies by the end of the movie. That's all I ask. Yeah, one of the other, again, just checking off the different tropes, but like, when they're in the police station, now all of a sudden, like, the power goes out, or the lights start to flicker when Allie's just there by herself, and then there's like a dark closet, and she gets all scared, then she picks up the American flag. And then,
God.
gets jump
And
scared.
God bless America.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and again, just so much fun. And then I kind of have little notes about maybe little nods to different horror movies and things like that. So right away in the beginning, and it isn't just horror movies, but so HEK, once the reporter said HEK, I instantly thought BTK. And then that made me think of how the media plays with the names and quote names, serial killers and everything. And then the fact that Hard Eyes goes after couples was very Zodiac-y. Where's some other stuff? Oh, there was like a shopping montage. So that for me is a Pretty Woman.
Very much so.
Very much.
Yeah.
Yep. And then what was the other one? There was at one point they're talking and one of them says ditto. And I'm like, I don't care who, when, where says it. It's always going to be a reference to ghosts. You're not going to convince me otherwise. So
Absolutely.
So yeah, I loved all these kind of like little nods to like past horror movies, or even, like I said, with the HEK and kind of that quick little almost like commentary on the media and how it handles, serial killers and stuff like that. And it's just, it's so good. You guys, it's so good. It's so well done. Yeah,
even
Erin?
The mask in some respects is a callback to the My Bloody Valentine killer in a lot of respects.
Thank you.
I mean, the eyes are different, of course, but it is still a callback to that minor, mask for people going out down in mines and working. Not miners, like young people.
People who do the mining. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I kind of was getting My Bloody Valentine vibes as well. And for me, it was especially that first kill with the photographer with the machete through the eye, because then the screen gets like blood splattered on it. And so it just kind of made me think of like My Bloody Valentine and like the 3D version, and how like just it's always coming at you. So anytime there was like blood on the camera, I was like, I'm going to go ahead and assume that's a nod to like the weird 3D obsession they had. And what was that, like 2006 for a few years?
Yeah.
Everything was 3D.
And it didn't
That
need
one
to
was
be.
with Jensen Ackles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler, he's the... Oh, I don't want to know. But there's also an older 80s My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
The original is from the 80s.
Oh, God. That's a good movie, too. I enjoy that one. My Bloody Valentine. All right. Let's see. Anything else from you ladies?
Yes, thank you for asking.
Okie doke.
I just want to point out that there was so much good screaming in the drive-in scene. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody was just the pro-iest pro scream queen, like just fantastic. Not just the people in the van, but the person who comes across a person who's dead and like holding the popcorn, just amazing, absolutely loved it. Way to go. The projectile vomiting onto Heart Eyes One's body was so unexpected, because it's not just that, it was like comically just big. Like they really went big with it. And that when I don't particularly like that particular bodily function, but when they do it in a way that is that ridiculous, it icks me out a little bit less than it would otherwise. And I think I love the cab driver. I thought he was really cute and sweet, and I was like, oh, and now he's dead.
Yeah.
For a second, I was like, maybe he's hurt. Never mind.
Nope. All right. And Erin?
I want to say the vomit scene is the one thing I hate in this movie. I hate vomit scenes in movies, and I wish we could just do away with them. So I was like, oh my gosh, no. And I knew it was going to end up happening just because it was foreshadowed. And so I was like, I know it's going to happen. I mean, yes, it was ridiculous and I like that. And it was on the body, but still, I'm just kind of like over that. I just wanted to add that the person in the drive-in who yells "Call 911," that's Josh Rubin. So just a shout out there. And I think that's all. I think that's all I had. Yeah.
Okay. Carla, I agree with this movie has some of the best screaming. Even the woman in the beginning that was getting proposed to, I think her character's name's like Adeline or Adeline or something, but I just have her noted as like Bridezilla because that's what she would have been. But like her scream when she turns around and her fiance's dead, fantastic. I was like,
so good. Yeah.
She's a true pro at this. So I completely agree. There was some really amazing screaming going on in this movie. And then, the drive-in and hearing all the random comments. Is that really him? The one that kills me was the, hey, I don't like that. And the, oh, shit. So I like that this movie does that. There's like these little comments that you just kind of hear in the background. You don't necessarily see who's saying it. Even with Jay in the back of the cop car, like, he's back there, but you hear him go like, what? Huh? Like, just reacting to the conversation happening outside of the vehicle. I don't know why. It cracks me up all the fucking time whenever that's done. And it was just, again, really well done here. Let's see. So the last few things that I have are just from IMDb. When Monica and Allie are shopping for clothes, Allie's clothes references other romantic comedies. Her first outfit was the hat that Stacey Dash wore in Clueless. The dress with the collar is Julia Roberts' night outfit from Pretty Women. And then she and Monica wear the colored dresses from Romy and Michelle's high school reunion. I think that was the only one I caught like the first time I watched it. And then the Meet Arthur deleted scene, I guess, it lists out all the rom-coms that Monica mentions in her pep talk. Crazy Beautiful, Something's Gotta Give, Clueless, Drive Me Crazy, 10 Things I Hate About You, My Best Friend's Wedding, Bridesmaids, Notting Hill, Pretty Woman, The Girl Next Door, Love Actually, Some Kind of Wonderful, and Crazy Stupid Love. Like, fantastic, guys. Beautifully
just
done.
Chef's kiss for like hitting so many in one movie, and not in a way where it felt like obnoxious.
Yeah,
where it's like, okay, we get it. It was just like so nicely woven into the whole story that it felt good.
I didn't even notice it the first time, and it was not until this last watch where she mentions again catching the flight for his best friend's wedding in Notting Hill. And then there was like one of the other movies mentioned. I was like, wait a minute. I think those are all movies. Oh yeah, the 10 Things I Hate About You. And she's like, that's one of the 10 things I hate about you. That was what tipped me off. So, well, all right. If there are no more stray bubbles, I guess we'll go ahead and move on to the Midwest Goodbye. And this is the beginning of the end. We've done our whelp knee slap, and we're at the door where we're going to spend like a whole bunch of more minutes just standing around and finishing our goodbyes, grabbing our hot plate and our to-goes and whatnot. So, first up is the 6 Degrees of Nicolas Cage, where we connect this movie to Nicolas Cage in 6 Steps or Less. Why? Because why the fuck not? So, how'd you ladies do? Erin?
I used Josh Rubin, and I used a performance because I also want to say Josh Rubin is a really, really good actor as well. And Josh Rubin was in this really fantastic independent horror movie called A Wounded Fawn. This is not a spoiler because you pretty much know it right away. He's a serial killer. So he's really good in that. And also in that was Sarah Lind, who was in the Humanity Bureau. Don't know that. Did you watch that one?
Okay. No.
With Nicolas Cage. So I figured you might have watched it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them, but there's a lot that I also have not seen. So I try to watch his, quote, better ones. But all right. And Carla?
Okay. I totally remember to do this before this moment. So I picked Michaela Watkins, and I actually because I love her, and she was great as that horrible boss in this movie. Just absolutely hilarious with the obnoxious outfits and whatever. So she was in Wanderlust with Millen Ackerman, and who was in Stolen with Nicolas Cage. Now, I've never heard of Stolen with Nicolas Cage. However, according to this, it absolutely exists.
Yes. I don't think I've watched that one, but I've heard of that one at least. So
you can speak to its existence.
Yes, I can confirm that it exists.
Fabulous.
Very well done. So I did mine this afternoon as well, because these are always like one of the last things I do. So I went with Olivia Holt. She was in Totally Killer with Kierna Shipka, who is in Long Legs with Nicolas Cage. Oh, all right. And now it's on to what's been streaming in your bubble. So share with us what else you've been watching. If not watching much, what have you been reading, listening to, video games you're playing? What you been up to? Carla.
Okay, so I recently finished watching The Last of Us. And of course, I didn't want to have a heart anymore. So I decided to just cut it out of my chest, because that was just devastating. And, who needs feelings anyway? And I've been reading, so I've been rereading The Count of Monte Cristo. And I read it in high school. It's one of my favorite books. And then I saw, hey, there's an unabridged version. Let me check that out. And there are some books that should be abridged. And, maybe just for everybody who thinks, I don't want to cheat code this. I really want to do the unabridged. No, sometimes the authors are paid by the word or the line, and then it really shows. And then you have the abridged version that makes the story cohesive. So just want to say that about that.
All right, thank you. Good PSA.
Happy to help.
And Erin.
Well, I am watching Nine Perfect Strangers. Sorry, the heat is just getting to me. Sorry. I'm watching Nine Perfect Strangers, which it's the second season. It's on Hulu with Nicole Kidman and a bunch of other people. And Nicole Kidman is like a therapist, sort of, who uses unconventional methods in that she uses a lot of hallucinogenics. And she has a very odd accent. Takes a while to get used to it. But I like it. I enjoy it. I don't know if I like this season better than the first one or the first one better. I think I'm probably leaning more towards the first season, but it's still interesting. And then The Bear season 4 just dropped. I've only seen the first 3 episodes. I don't know when I'm going to be able to finish it, but they've been renewed for a 5th season. Makes me very, very happy, because this is now one of my absolute favorite shows. That and Interview with the Vampire are my 2 favorite shows on television right now. And then I also, on a total trash side, I watched the new season of Queer Love Ultimatum on Netflix.
I just started that today.
I watched that while I'm working, because I don't have to pay attention to it, And that is just utter and complete trash. And if you're going to go on that show, I just think you probably need to get therapy instead of going on a show to give somebody an ultimatum, and then you're going to go and live with another person for a while and pretend like they're your wife. But I do appreciate that they have a season that is queer, and so I appreciate that fact, and that it's not just a bunch of gay men, and that it's lesbians, focused mainly on lesbians. So I really appreciate that, honestly, because that's kind of rare, I think. So, yeah.
Excellent. You guys, we always have to have like some sort of like our trash or guilty pleasures or whatnot, just something that is not great, but you just can't help it. Like that was me with all the VH1 shit, as we have discussed in the past. So let's see. So for me, I watched the final season of Squid Game. So I was not okay for a minute. I recently just finished the book Horror Movie the Novel by Paul Tremblay. I'm also not okay from that as well. But it was so fucking good. No spoilers, but I loved how this book was written and how the story was being told. And since I do audiobook, the narrator for like the main character or whatever, like amazing voice, really kind of sets a tone for like something creepy or like unsettling or whatever. But it got to a certain point when I was listening to it the other day. And as things start being described and shit's starting to happen, I like froze. I'm like, I'm making dinner. I'm in the kitchen. I just freeze. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Is this real? What the hell? And it keeps going, and going. And then I screamed. And then our youngest came running in and he yells, "What in the General Grievous?" And he thought maybe like there was because I just was locked, like my eyes were just staring like into nowhere, but like downward. So he kept looking over. He's like, "What, did you drop something?" And I just held up, because it's on a playaway, which is an MP3 player. I just held that up on the other end of my headphones. I just pointed to it. It's just like, ah! And he's like, "Oh, okay." But fantastic. So I went to go look up some of his other books. And I'm looking at one, The Cabin at the End of the World. And I was like, that sounds kind of familiar. That is what the movie Knock at the Cabin was based off of.
Yeah.
And I watched that movie. I liked it. I recorded an episode with Trent from Nightmare on Fear Street where we covered it. And I want to say, I can't remember, but we talked a little bit about the book. No spoilers. But that the things that happen in the book are so much worse than what we got in the movie. And after reading Horror Movie, the novel, I'm like, I could see that. So before I had pieced all of that together, that was Knock at the Cabin, the book version, the original version, I'd already placed that on hold. And I was like, and now I'm like, oh no, what have I done to myself? But I'm very excited to get to that one too, because I just really enjoyed how this Horror Movie, the novel, was written, the way it told the story. And then as like a palate cleanser, we had a family movie night. Our 14-year-old picked the movie. He has recently become obsessed with K-pop Demon Hunter, which is like an animated anime movie. It's, K-pop, so K-pop stars and a girl group, and then there's like a boy band, all Korean. So some of the song lyrics are also in Korean. And I was telling my husband later, I'm like, I'm so glad that like my kids get to have the choice to see and watch things from Korea, based in Korea, with Korean dialogue in it. I was like, and then I was telling my kids, I was like, growing up, the only time an Asian person was on screen was like one of the best friends. And then it was almost never Korean. It was almost always Chinese or Japanese. So I'm telling my husband, I was like, I'm really happy for them. I think my mom would get a huge kick out of it as well. I think she'd be really happy. And he's like, I get what you're saying. I was like, because I didn't have that. And he's like, yeah, well, now you have Squid Game, so it's fine. It's been I was like, oh, great.
Well, now you're covered.
Yeah, so okay. So those were my recents. And yeah, they all kind of fucked me up except for K-pop Demon Hunter. I guess that got me emotionally, though.
That's awesome.
You had to suffer one way or another.
Yep. I am a masochist when it comes to the shit that I watch. I like being in pain.
I understand. Jen, I'm sorry. Is it okay if I throw in one other one?
Absolutely.
Since we're talking about slashers. Maybe?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a show on Shudder, which everyone Shudder is a wonderful horror streaming platform, called Hell Motel, and it's like kind of like a take on true crime. Like it's all these people who are obsessed with true crime, and one person who's like an actress get together at the site of like this grisly murder that also involves Satanism that happened like in 1995. The hardest part about this is you see the first scene in 1995 and then it says 30 years later. Like, no, that can't be 30 years ago. But anyway, that aside, it's just an interesting take on that. You do have the killers that are revealed, like you find out who the killers really were from 1995, and you find it out like by the second episode, I believe it is. It's so interesting who they are, but there's also another killer involved too, and we don't know who that is yet. but I just loved it because I don't want to give it away, but it's not at all who you normally see be killers in shows like this. So if you liked the show Slasher, it's done by the same person who did that. If you liked that series, you'd probably really have a lot of fun with this. So, and if you want to see Eric McCormick die in one of the worst ways possible, you'll also like it.
Awesome.
Don't tempt us too much, Erin.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is going to do it for us today. So thank you, ladies, for being here today. And if you want to go ahead and go around and say, promote your podcast and say where you can be found on the socials, now's your time, Carla.
Thank you, Jen. You can find OK Real Quick Pod wherever you found this podcast and also Pandora.
You're on Pandora already, huh?
I am on Pandora.
Oh,
yeah.
man, Jen, that has to hurt. That has to really hurt. Wow. That has to really hurt.
I went to try to do it. That's gonna be it. Because all I did was I hit a button, and it's like, welcome to whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. Anyway,
I think I got an email. They're like, podcasters for Pandora or whatever. And I'm just like, fucking delete. I'm so mad at you.
Well, no Pandora for podcasters, so no.
Yeah.
And then as far as social media, I'm actually posting stuff, believe it or not, on TikTok for @OK Real Quick Pod. And I also have a Blue Sky, and that's @OK Real Quick Pod. I don't know if you're sensing a theme, but wherever there's social media, look for that, and we may or may not be there. But me and my art, my musings, that is all at Carla Temis. And on my website, carlatemis.com. That's CarlaTemis.com.
All right. And Erin?
You can find all the links to the past over 500 episodes. We're going to be reaching our 600th episode in October of It's a Fandom Thing. I know. It's wild. I don't know why I sounded so annoyed.
It's like, oh, this is not a good thing.
No, it's a good thing. It's just wild.
Sixes.
Yeah. I can't wait till we get to the 666 episode. That'll be probably in 2026. But anyway, you can find all the past episodes, including my interview with Josh Rubin. And also, if you're a fan of Donnie Darko, also he was on that. I also interviewed Sarah Lind from the movie that I mentioned, Wounded Fawn. So you can find all of that at it'safandomthingpod.com. And I also co-host a podcast called It's a Dean Thing with Paula and Moth. And we talk about the fictional character Dean Winchester from Supernatural. So you can find that wherever you are listening to this. And then Jen and I co-host a podcast together.
We do. We co-host Twin It to Win It, and that is a monthly podcast where we have to guess how the other one feels about different horror movies. So you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky, and listen on most podcast players. So, all right. Well, I want to thank you again, ladies, so much. This was a ton of fun. I've been looking forward to this for weeks and weeks and weeks. So thank you once again. And thank you to all the lovely bubblies for listening, and keep streaming. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. If you're enjoying this podcast, be sure to let me know by rating and reviewing on a podcast player near you, and by sharing your favorite episodes with your friends, family, and mail carrier. Then be sure to follow me on all your favorite socials like Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. Just search My Streaming Bubble and I should pop on up there for ya. If you have suggestions on what I should stream in my bubble next, or you want to be tolerated, send an email to mystreamingbubble@gmail.com. Looking for merch? Stop by my Redbubble store where you can find and buy My Streaming Bubble stickers, hats, shirts, and more. You can also head over to buymeacoffee.com and, well, buy me a coffee. Need more podcast me in your life? Then be sure to check out my other podcast, Twin It to Win It. That's a monthly podcast that I co-host with my podcast brain twin, Erin from It's a Fandom Thing, where we test our twinningness by trying to guess if we both feel the same way about different horror movies. You can find and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. And most importantly, you can listen, rate, review, and share from most podcast players. Thank you for your support and keep streaming. Goodbye.